a city there was an old tower. It was said that if you looked into the only whole window of the tower in the evening, before sunset, you could see another city inside, and everything there was made of gold. It was also said that you could enter that golden city through the window of the tower. Then you have to grab some golden thing and climb out quickly before the people in the golden city catch you, and if they did, they would bury you alive in a golden coffin. One evening, a boy passed a tower and saw a bright light in the window. He went closer, looked through the window, and saw a golden city. The walls and roofs of the houses in this city were made of gold, and right next to the window, the boy saw a little girl playing with gold ingots as if they were ordinary stones. There was no one else nearby. The boy quickly climbed up to the window, jumped down, ran up to the girl, grabbed the 2 gold bars, and immediately ran back. But when he climbed up to the window, his hometown was no longer in the window. The boy looked back and saw the girl standing there looking at him. "You can't get back in," the girl said. "Anyone who came from there couldn't get back in." The boy climbed down from the window to the ground. "Am I to be buried in a golden coffin?" he asked. The girl nodded. "Why are you doing this?" said the boy. "Are you sorry for the gold? I will give it to you," and he handed the girl some gold ingots. "No, not because of the gold," said the girl. "You have come from a dead city, and you're dead yourself, so we have to bury you. The dead don't live with the living." "But I'm alive," said the boy. "You are dead," said the girl, shaking her head. "Look at your hands." The boy looked at his hands and saw that they were the hands of a dead man. He was frightened and began to weep. People began to come out of the golden houses. They looked at the boy, and 2 of them were already carrying a golden coffin. "Too bad you are dead," said the girl. "Otherwise we would have played with you." "But I'm alive," cried the boy. "I just have to go back. Let me go." But the people of the golden city would not listen. They caught the boy, put him in a golden coffin, and nailed the lid with golden nails. There was once a boy whose parents were always at work, leaving him unsupervised. The younger children feared him because he often bullied them and took their money. But he tormented one girl the most. This girl had jet black hair and equally black eyes, earning her the nickname Gypsy. Perhaps she really was a gypsy. She had no parents, and an old woman with a crooked back, shaped like a question mark, brought her to school every day. No one knew why the boy had such a grudge against this girl, but no one defended her because she had no friends. One time, the boy's parents were summoned to the principal's office after he tripped the girl, causing her to fall and bloody her nose, but that didn't help. On the contrary, the boy intensified his torment. One day he even pushed the girl right in front of the old woman. When the old woman started to scold him loudly, he just laughed, knowing she couldn't catch him. "Just wait," the old woman said. "I know someone who will punish you." That night, the boy had a dream. He and several other children were lying bound on a stone floor. The boy was scared but couldn't understand why. He turned his head, trying to see who he couldn't see, but could hear heavy breathing and a ghastly wheezing laugh. The boy saw a large wooden table stained with red and black paint. Beyond the table, the dark maw of a furnace roared with flames. "That's not paint," the boy suddenly realized. "That's blood." The dream was terrifying, but it was just a dream that he quickly forgot in the morning. However, the next night, the boy found himself in the same dream. He began to guess where the blood on the table came from and why the furnace was lit. The boy spent the entire day at home, paralyzed by fear. That night, he tossed and turned, afraid to fall asleep. But when he did, his fear grew even more because he finally saw who was breathing so heavily. He was enormous and obese. His gnarled hands were covered in unhealed, bleeding wounds, crudely sewn with coarse thread. He wore a mask, but the boy immediately recognized the eyes behind it. The same black eyes he had seen in the gypsy girl and the old woman who brought her to school. The giant looked at the children lying bound on the floor and began to count loudly. Humans, beasts, I am none. Think this ends? It's just begun. When the boy woke up the next morning, he dressed quickly and ran straight to school. He knew who could save him. He would beg for forgiveness, plead with them. He waited outside the school for 3 hours before realizing that the gypsy girl was not coming, nor was the old woman. That night, he was back in the same dream. The giant recited his rhyme again, pointing at the children lying on the floor.
Humans, beasts, I am none. Think this ends? It's just begun. Sticks and stones, darkness falls. To no one do I belong. Rats and worms, life's a game. I have fallen into the flame.
The next day, the boy frantically tried to find out where the gypsy girl and the old woman lived. But the other children looked at him blankly. None of them knew such a girl. Even the teachers shook their heads, and the principal couldn't remember summoning the boy's parents to the school. His parents remembered nothing. When the boy told them about the nightmare, they just shrugged and said that dreams weren't real, and nothing would happen to him. That night, the boy lay in bed, trying not to fall asleep, but even with his eyes open, he could hear the giant's rhyme.
Humans, beasts, I am none. Think this ends? It's just begun. Sticks and stones, darkness falls. To no one do I belong. Rats and worms, life's a game. I have fallen into the flame.
As dawn broke, the voice faded away. The boy barely managed to get out of bed. He was incredibly tired but knew he had to find the gypsy girl. He needed to go back to school and ask the other children again. Maybe someone would remember. If they didn't, he would scour the entire town, ask everyone, but he would find the girl and the old woman, because he knew whom the rhyme would point to in his dream. His parents went to work, leaving the boy alone. No one saw him fall asleep sitting on his bed, one pant leg pulled halfway up, and if anyone had seen, they might not have been able to wake him.
Humans, beasts, I am none. Think this ends? It's just begun. Sticks and stones, darkness falls. To no one do I belong. Rats and worms, life's a game. I have fallen into the flame. Light and dawn. Silence rings. You will never wake again.